I remember how I woke up, turned on the news, and saw the active fighting had begun. It was completely clear that it's not just regular attack that they have very often. It was something more big. The task was received 7th of October, almost immediately. My call sign is 21st. I serve in Ukrainian military since February of 22. I am officer of GUR, Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, and before the operation in Gaza, I took part in the fight in all over the country of Ukraine, on every direction, including occupied territories. This was my first this type of evacuation operation in my life. As you know, a couple years ago, our organization GUR was involved in evacuation operation in Afghanistan. Also, there was operation in Sudan, evacuation of our citizens and citizens from different countries. And this was a great honor for me to take part in this type of operation in Sector Gaza. I remember how I woke up, turned on the news, and saw the active fighting had begun. And from the very beginning it was understood and completely clear that it's not just regular Israeli incident when they are shelled with rockets, but massive-scale operation with involvement of ground element. Something like large-scale operation provided by Hamas, and it's much more massive than regular Israeli incident with attack that they meet very often. The task was received 7th of October, almost immediately. We were shocked from the very first moment because we understand that it's a very responsible task. Because it's not like a regular fight in the combat zone, it's more like a humanitarian mission. You have to save civilians, you have to take care about their health. You have to ensure their evacuation and receive proper conditions, so you execute realization of citizens' rights. So you try to help and to save them, and this is a very honorable mission. The environment is hard because people that present in this area of activity in combat zone, they have very big humanitarian risks. They're out of personal care products and hygiene products. They don't have enough amount of water that needed. They also don't have enough food. So they have a lot of this type of humanitarian issues. And additionally to that, there is always the risk for their lives and health. Because this is a combat zone, and always there is a risk of some shelling or some gunfight. Also, you have to deal with vulnerable groups of people, like kids, pregnant women, people that are sick. It's very important to provide them with proper conditions. So we had a couple options to execute this task. So we planned a couple different options of scenarios, but something always goes wrong, not according to the plan. So let's say that it was something like very high intensive game when something changed every day. So every day you have to change something and to make some new decisions. And you have to make a pause to gather the team and to think over and to brainstorm what steps and how to move forward, how to save as much lives as we can, how to evacuate them and how to prevent risks that you can meet. Risks like, for example, delay of evacuation, or conditions can become more dangerous for people that evacuated. Also, we realized that this whole situation was very sensitive on the strategical level. The reputational side of this operation was very important for Ukraine. The perception of Ukraine by Western partners was dependent on this. The perception of Ukraine in Arabic world. That's why you realize that every day you make decisions that can harm or to help to your country. And this is very big responsibility. The first group of people was evacuated at the 7th of November. It was almost impossible to do it before. We were lucky because we have the possibility to execute the official evacuation plan, because we had a green corridor for people from foreign countries that are present on the Sector Gaza territory, including Ukrainian citizens. It was very positive option for us because, one more time, we had different options to execute this. So we worked out the Green Corridor scenario. We sent requests to Ukrainian embassy in Israeli. They transferred this to Ukrainian embassy in the Republic of Egypt. So GOR collected all the lists of evacuated people and got confirmation about approvals of exfil of the citizens. So we had time windows when our citizen could evacuate. We had the case with one woman that was in very bad condition, and it was very important for us to evacuate her as fast as possible, because it was very important to provide her medical care, and it was almost impossible to do it in the combat zone. Technically impossible. We were very happy when we actually did it. It was small success, but success for all of the Ukraine. So we had a case with hardly injured Ukrainian citizen and his nephew also injured. We understood that if we will not evacuate him, then it will be even possible to lose him. I remember the moment when he was actually evacuated and when we take him to the safe house, to the hotel, and he got medical care and we gave him food and water. It was very big pleasure for us just to see that he is alive and to realize that we could do this together with embassies and to exfil him. He has very young kids and it's very good feeling to realize that their father is alive, evacuated, and their family can be together in the future. First group of our people was evacuated 7th of November, right after American citizens were evacuated. Also right after some citizens from countries of our Western partners. We evacuated our citizens much more earlier than the Russians could grab their people, and it was a very positive result of our activity. Our mission finished only in December, when we evacuated the third group of our people. And the amount of people in the third group was extremely huge. So in total we evacuated 304 citizens of Ukraine. After this there were still small groups of people, but it was much more easy to organize their evacuation and there was no need for presence of GOR personnel on the ground. After this, embassies took care about this. It was a very good feeling to realize that Ukraine was a subject in this type of activity and processes. We provided a very big influence on the situation and what was going on. Of course, we didn't have any competition on the ground, but we understand when we have the war with Russian Federation, so the competition in this type of activities will be always. And we definitely know about their tries and their plans to attack Ukraine through media during this operation. To create visibility that Ukraine left their people behind, that there is nobody who can care about them and it's much more better to evacuate with Russian personnel. And they tried to show it like Ukraine doesn't care about their people, but Russia cares, and always ready to help them and support. That's why we'll definitely have some kind of competition until they'll stop to manipulate some people's lives and health. So we also fight with them on the informational front line of the war. And you can be sure that Defense Intelligence of Ukraine will definitely work on minimizing risks for citizens of Ukraine and Ukrainian state. I think during this fight, 7th of October, there were a lot of things that you could only see before in the front lines of Ukraine. You can see that what's going on in Ukraine, now it's some kind of manual for Western countries. If you observe latest news about defense all over the world, you'll see that most of countries now start to invest to the technologies, give results for the cheapest price. For example, drones. Most of the countries started to evaluate their jamming systems possibilities, and we could see this during 7th of October. So very lot of experience from Ukraine was implemented during this incident. Very lot of most new and latest decisions. Was there a lot of that we could use for ourselves? My master once told me that you always can learn something from anybody. And very soon we and everybody else will be able to see what this will be.